First off, we won't even touch the bow yet. First, we'll just go through what the actual parts on the violin are. So, violin parts are the violin itself, which is the body of the violin. Some parts that you should know about are probably, for one, obviously the strings. We'll talk about the tunings later, but if you noticed, there's a low tuning, there's a kind of a thicker note, or thicker string,
Okay.
then there's a higher string, which is pretty common in most string instruments. Yeah, again, we'll get back into the tuning and stuff of it, but for right now, what we need to know is, this is the scroll. There's not really much use for it. It was kind of just like an old European thing where they had the end of it, kind of like a guitar head, except instead they just kind of wanted to make it a little fancier, so they put a little scroll there.
Okay.
Doesn't really do anything, really. Doesn't mess with the sound or anything. Also, you may have noticed these little black things inside the scroll, which is inside of this little chamber right here, which is called the peg box, which is this little section right here.
Okay.
Inside the peg box is, you got some pegs right here. Again, each one is for each string, and they're kind of laid out in an order that would kind of, it makes sense stringing the instrument, which I'll get to later. And now we're gonna go through the tuning really quick. So the tuning in violin is G, D, A, E, and yeah, from lowest to highest. You can also think of it as it's backwards from guitar. So in guitar, the lowest string is E, A, D, G.
Okay.
And on here, the highest string is E, A, D, G. So for instance, I'll pull the, hopefully this guitar's in tune. I didn't plan on doing this, but it'll work. Alright, so just for an example, it's going to be E, A, D, G. And on guitar, it's kind of backwards. Kind of backwards.
Okay.
It's kind of like a backwards kind of thing. Same notes and everything, just backwards. So yeah, G, D, A, E. An easy way to remember that is good boys, or good dogs always eat.
Good dogs.
So good dogs always eat. Easy way to remember. Also, with the 4 strings, in classical music, each concerto, each concerto in the key is one of these strings. So there's a concerto in G major, D major, A major, and E major. And there's other ones too as well for other instruments, but for violin mostly, you kind of stick with what the open strings are, because these are the ones that ring out and resonate in the F hole, which we'll get to, which kind of segues into our next thing, which is the sound post, which is inside here. I don't know if you could see. You can go and take that if you want. Inside the F hole, which is this little guy right here.
Okay.
They call it the F hole because you can kind of see the F a little shape.
It's shaping an F.
Yeah. Excuse me. But yeah, there's a sound post in there. What that kind of does is it gives it sound. It gives it vibrating, and it gets the sound to come out of that, right?
Yeah.
Also, what you have from there, you have the bridge, which is kind of connected right on top of the sound post. Because if we look at the sound post,
It's like under it.
right, it's right under, right? So this guy kind of holds the tension together from the strings. So when the strings get tighter, this guy has to be straight, or if not straight, more tilted toward this way. Because if we tilt it toward this way, it's gonna come off eventually.
Okay.
So yeah, that's called the bridge. So we got the F hole, the sound post, the bridge. We got the pegs, which kind of tune the instrument. We got the peg box, which is the inside right here, and we have the scroll so far. Also, what might look familiar is this little piece of ebony wood right here. Usually it's ebony. Actually, almost all the time it's ebony wood. It's called the fingerboard, kind of similar to the fretboard, except we don't call it a fretboard because it has no frets. Yeah, that's one major difference in this. So it pretty much calls for precise, precision with your fingers.
Okay.
It's a pretty demanding instrument, which is why I'm not expecting you to play like something like really advanced right now. But yeah, So we have that. Another piece that we have, which is we went through. Well, not went through, but we kind of got close. Which is from the bridge, right here. We have this little section right here, and these are fine tuners right here. So you see how there's like 3 little holes right here and one hole right here. So this guy, I'll show you what it does. Hear that pitch right there?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna turn this guy a little bit.
Oh.
Changes the pitch. So it's kind of lefty loosey, righty tighty.
Yeah.
So you tune it with this. So, and it's always a smart idea to keep plucking it. And I tune it using the A string. And the reason for that is all these strings are tuned in fifths. Of course, I don't know how musically inclined you are, but a fifth kind of sounds like this. So every 2 strings is a fifth apart. So that's an easy way to remember. We'll go through a little music theory, hopefully, if we have time. But yeah, so that's kind of like the overlining thing about it is we have fine tuners, bridge, sound post, we have the F hole, and now right next to the F hole we have the C bout, which is kind of shaping the C, right?
Yeah.
Again, it's kind of just for a look and stuff in it. It's kind of shaped like this, I think, for the sound quality more so than the sound producing. But yeah, you'll see almost every violin have one of these. If not, it'll be a little bigger, a little smaller shape.
Okay.
The next thing we have is the tailpiece, which is this right here, which has the fine tuner on there, right?
Yeah.
And oh yeah, I forgot to say, there's a reason why these 3 don't have fine tuners. It's because as a professional, I guess you could consider this a professional violin. Usually they only have 1.
Okay.
Usually for starting out players, they have 4 of them because up here it's way too risky to have them deal with this because it's very easy to snap a string. Exactly. That's why when you tune it, you always have to be plucking. Because if you don't pluck, then you don't know how far you're tuning it, and it might just pop in your face.
Oh.
So yeah, that's kind of cool. I don't know if you've seen this little guy, but this is a mute. Doesn't really serve a purpose for us right now, but it kind of alters the sound a little bit. So here's it without it, and then here's it with it.
Okay.
Not doing anything different. I'm just, I don't know, a little different, huh?
Yeah.
Different. It's kind of just for the symphony purposes. So if you're playing with a big group, and you have to, if it says put on mutes, then you just put it on.
Okay.
Kind of for the sake of the musicality of it. Also, you may have seen this guy. This is the chin rest. This is kind of where obviously the chin would go.
Yeah.
Again, there's different various sizes that you can get to suit your own. Honestly, I just bought this not too long ago. I had a black one. It kind of matched all. I didn't like black anymore, so I just got a tan one. Just because. It's nothing different. The exact same size, same everything. Just preference. Also, they're really easy to get on from right here. All you need to get is a toothpick, or not even a toothpick, probably like a, what do you call it, paper clip? Yeah, and you just kind of straighten it out, and you kind of just put it in there, and you kind of turn it like that. It's an easy way to tighten it and to untighten it if you need to change it. Yeah, so that's kind of like adjusting it. Little good, I don't know, thing to know. This is a shoulder rest, which also comes in various sizes. This one's for a full size to a 3/4 violin. This is a full size, so yeah, this fits it pretty good.
Okay.
I've only gone through 2 my whole life, and this is probably the best one I've ever tried. Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a new one. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this guy is, the purpose for it is to put it on your shoulder. Sometimes it's not directly on your shoulder. Sometimes it's more so on the collarbone. But we kind of just call it shoulder rest just for the sake of not calling it a collarbone rest or something. You know? So instead of putting it straight on the shoulder like this, that'd be kind of weird, huh?
Yeah.
So we want the chin to get on the chin rest. So what we're going to do is kind of place, you see that little indent right here?
Yeah.
Kind of see that little shape? That guy's going to lay right on the chest area right here. So that guy just lays right there, and then you get your chin up to like right there.
Oh.
Kind of perfect. It's kind of holding itself. That's the goal. Is a lot of people misconceive it as you're holding it with your hand and you're playing it, and that's like pretty much near impossible. If you don't have that, then it's really hard to shred and do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll let you go ahead and try that. Again, it might need some adjusting. It depends on how you are. So yeah, we'll still go ahead and do that. So right here in the diagram, it kind of shows how to. Oh wait. Okay. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is now. Yeah, go ahead and try putting it up there, right there, like on your shoulder. Yeah. Perfect. Now I'm gonna fix it up a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and keep your posture going. I'm just gonna move this guy like that. Go ahead and put your chin right there, and the goal is to hold it without it falling. Yeah, and there it is. That's perfect right there. Oops, don't want to get in the way of that. But yeah, that's it right there. And now left hand's kind of a different thing. So your left hand, very awkward spot. Since you're a guitar player, it might be a little bit more natural for you to do it, as opposed to someone that's never picked up an instrument. What I would suggest for left hand is I would take, since you have the posture thing already, you can go ahead and take it off.
Take it off. Okay.
Yeah. And what I would recommend for left hand is what you start doing. Just put your hand out like that.
Okay.
And what you're going to do is stick your hand like that. And while you put it on here, it's going to be like this. And all you're going to do is just naturally curl your fingers in. And if you look at my shoulder too, my elbow.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like this, and then when I curve, I kind of like move my elbow like that a little bit.
I see.
So I'll do it again. So if you look at my elbow, kind of naturally does that.
Okay.
It's very hard to do this and still be underneath. So the whole point is, right here, you shouldn't. So right between the C bout right here,
yeah,
you should be able to see your. You shouldn't be able to see your arm when you're doing this, but as you bring your fingers around to reach, you should see your arm in between this little C bout. Okay, so I'll let you go ahead and try that, and then I'll observe and see what needs to be done. Awesome. So yeah, first things first is getting that guy up. Yep.
Like that.
Yeah.
So is it?
So yeah. So I would do that again and get the thumb up a little more too.
Thumb up like
there
this?
we go. Yeah, just like that. And now all you're gonna do is instead of, so you have that little pose right here, and what you're gonna do is just move your arm like that. And out. So your arm should move with it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. And now, the wrist thing's the very important part. So you see how the wrist is kind of clamped up like that?
Yeah, it's kind of like hanging.
Yeah. So the purpose of that, we don't want that to happen, so we want to have a straight wrist as much as possible.
Okay.
Yeah. While you curve your fingers in. So that's where the hard part comes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So looks good right there. Yeah, it looks good. So now, I'm going to not put the fingers down yet, but just kind of put them over the string. Yeah. Yeah, just like that. Oh, perfect. Just like that. Now, so that's kind of like the left hand ordeal. Again, I don't know how long you're going to pursue this, but yeah, this guy needs to get a little bit more. Yeah, just like that. Yeah. So that's kind of like the basics of holding the violin.
Okay.
Yeah. And remember, we want the wrist nice and straight, right?
Nice and straight.
Nice and straight.
So,
and I mean, yeah, I wouldn't freak out if we can't do it right now.
Yeah.
It does, like, you know,
Take some
it'll
time to
come.
master.
Yeah, it's gonna come. It's not gonna come overnight. Again, I'm just going through it briefly. Now we're gonna talk about the second part of the instrument, which is the bow, which is the other half of the instrument, which is pretty much 50% of it. And I would say about 85% of this instrument is based off posture and how you hold it. Maybe even more. I'm sure my teacher can say 90% probably. 90% posture is probably the estimated amount. Okay, so now I'm going to take this real quick. So I'm going to go through everything I've just been explaining to you, and if I'm going too fast, just let me know.
Okay.
Again, set that up just to where you can without holding this.
Okay.
If you can hold it like this without using your left hand, that's the best way to do it. Then you're gonna take this, curve this guy in, and now with the left, the right hand with the bow, I'm gonna go through the little parts of it because there is quite a few. So this is a bow. This isn't a bow you will typically see a lot of. This is a carbon fiber bow.
Okay.
And most of them are wood, which I actually have a wooden bow with me. So this is actually a good time to kind of explain the difference. It's a really, really, really old bow. That's really crappy. But, this is the standard wooden bow. So if you go ahead and feel this bow, it's kind of like a little wooden.
Yeah,
woodeny.
it's wooden.
Yeah. Now if you feel this bow, you might see a difference in weight, and you might see a difference in how it feels.
It's lighter.
Lighter, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the main difference. It's all preference, though, by the way. There's no right or wrong way of doing something. But, I mean, people could make a case for classic, keeping it old school with wooden bows.
Okay.
Carbon bows are really, really kind of like new age type stuff.
I see.
I just got it because I was feeling creative, or just determined to try something new.
Okay.
I've had wooden bows pretty much my whole life of playing. I recently just got one of those a couple years ago, and it didn't cost that. I mean, it cost a pretty penny, but I mean, it wasn't. It's worth it. It was worth it.
It seems like it.
Yeah, it was. I think it was $450 for this thing. But it was definitely worth it just because of the lightness of it, and it all depends on your play style too. So yeah, there's a couple things you should know about this. The first and probably the most important thing is the screw.
The screw.
So this guy, what this does is the adjustment screw. So if you look at the hair and the carbon fiber right here,
yeah,
where the wood would be, if I turn it to the left, can you tell me what's happening right now?
It's going higher.
Yeah, it's getting closer, right,
Closer
to the bow, right?
Yeah.
Bow itself. And this part right here is referred to as the stick.
Stick.
Yeah. Whether it's wood or carbon fiber or whatever it is, or whatever type of wood, it's still called the stick. And this is the tip, which you could probably assume, right?
Yeah.
And then this is the hair, which you try not to touch as much as you try not to touch. Usually you don't want to touch it at all. Because oil on your hands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So sometimes depends on what you've been doing the day before, but let's say like you change your oil in your car.
Yeah.
You don't want to go play your violin right after that, right? You don't want to touch the hair right after you just changed your oil with grimy hands, right?
Yeah.
So it's trying to keep it preserved, and if it does get dirty, you see it dirty right here.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's as easy as cleaning it with a toothbrush and rubbing alcohol. Okay. Is what I usually do. Yeah, it works out great. I need to clean mine. This is from all this semester. But yeah. Yeah, so this is the adjustment screw, the stick, tip, and then you got the hair. And now you have the frog, which if you look at the stick, it kind of extends in right here, and then it has this little piece that it kind of clips onto, right?
Yeah.
And I am going to show you how that works. So take this off. And that guy just comes off like that.
Oh.
So that is kind of what comes onto that, and that's what it looks like right in there.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty easy to restring your hair too. It's as easy as taking this out, putting it in, and it's pretty easy to figure out on your own, I would think. And put it back in. You just tighten it all the way out, and then it's good as new.
Dang.
Yeah, and when you play the violin, the bow should be the bow hair. So the reason why it's tight and why you can tighten and loosen it is because when you're not playing the bow, you should always have it tight. And tight would mean the hair being really close to the stick. Yeah. When you want to play it, it's going to be about a pinky's width apart. Kind of like that.
Okay.
I wouldn't go as far as saying like that. Because that looks like it's a nightmare. To you, it probably doesn't look like much, but it does look like it will snap at any moment.
Oh.
So what you want to do is at least have some curvature still in the bow. So if you look at the bow, if it's straight,
yeah,
it looks kind of curved a little bit. It's not dead straight. If you look at it, there's a little curve. Yeah, a little curve. So when I tighten it, kind of starts losing that curve a little bit,
It does.
right? And that's what we don't want. So we still want some curve, but at the same time we don't want
Too much.
we don't want too much curve. So yeah, so about a pinky's width is probably the safest bet to go with. Yeah, so that's kind of the bow. Another part of it is the ferrule, which is this little part right here, which is going to come in handy when we learn how to hold a bow, which is actually going to be right now. So what we're going to do is, I have two bows, thankfully. So I'm going to give you this guy. And what you're going to do is, hold on it from the stick with your left hand, right in the middle. Yeah, and I have it loosened, I think, on purpose, because I want to have you loosen it, or tighten it. So what we're going to do is hold out the bow from the stick. And what I'm doing really is just holding on from right here. And just facing the hair down. Perfect, just like that. Now what we're going to do is put the hair away from us.
Okay.
Yep, just like that. You're going to take a right hand, shake it out a little bit. Make sure it's nice and not tense at all. That's the number one thing about this instrument is you don't want to be tense. As soon as you're tense, you probably shouldn't be playing. It just from experience, it's not a fun thing to do because then you end up having to do physical therapy and stuff like me. So yeah, your arms start getting you start building up nerves and stuff, and that's just not the way to go. So if you can learn how to play without being tense, that's probably the best bet to do. So what we're going to do is hold that out with the bow hair pointed away from us.
Okay.
Take a right hand, shake it out a bit. And what we're going to do is just hold it dead like that.
Okay.
So now what we're going to do is put our hair back down.
Okay.
And now we're going to take our hand and just place it like that.
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just hover over it.
Yeah, hover over it. And now what next step I'm going to do, we're going to do one step at a time. So we're going to get our pinky.
Pinky.
And you're going to get right before the adjusting screw. You're going to put it right on top. Like that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like that.
Yeah, so right next to the adjusting screw.
So kind of like that. Like.
Yeah, that's
And then
perfect.
just kind of grab it.
Yeah, so now the next step is to get your thumb in between the frog and the leather grip,
Okay. So like
which
that.
is that part. Yeah, just like that. Perfect. And what we want is we want a curved thumb. We don't want a thumb that's
Straight.
hyperextended. Yeah, or straight like that. We want it curved.
Curved.
So just like that. Yeah, perfect. And now what we're going to do is get the rest of our guys and just have them rest on as naturally as you can. So remember, we want the pinky, the tip needs to be nice and like that and curved, right? We don't want it like this or like this or like that. We want it nice and curved, just like that. And remember, yeah, just like that, perfect.
So
Now I'm going to fix this a little bit. Move this guy. Yeah, so don't I wouldn't rely on those guys too much. But yeah, that looks just fine.
even the pinky too.
Yeah, pinky's fine. As long as this guy's curved in a little bit. And remember, we don't want to be as tense as you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I mean, that'll come with time too.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not gonna all come naturally. Well, I mean, it might, but. So yeah, that's how you hold the bow.
Okay.
So that's what you do with the right hand while you hold the violin. So you have three things to worry about: holding this guy right, having your left hand in the right position, which I think I forgot to mention is about, if you see where that little indent is right here.
Yeah.
Our first finger, which is usually our index finger, that's what we can refer to as a first finger. So we have a first, second, third, and fourth finger we use for violin. Our first finger is about an inch away from that. So that's where we put our first finger down. It's right there. About an inch away. It's a little space. You kind of have to eye it. It does take a while to muscle memory most of it, because that's kind of how most violin players do it, is they know exactly where to put their finger. Just because they've done it for so long. Yeah, so now we're going to try to make some noise.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, let's see. We went through the bow, the violin, and now we have this stuff right here, which is the music map, or what does it say? Adventure map? Yeah. This was marketed towards kids, as you can tell.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so these are just little things that we should know before we start jumping into this, is we have a staff. So in case you didn't know what music kind of looks like yet, it kind of looks like this. This isn't it yet. Here it is.
Oh.
So this is generally what it looks like. This is just one little staff line right here. Little exercises. But for right now, we probably won't get too much into this right here. For right now, we're probably just going to work on getting good sound first. And I think that's what the point of this is, to get a good sound. So, if you always forget to, we have this guy little diagram right here. So it goes from A to B. For some reason, he's doing the metal horns. You could do that if you want. I prefer, so look at how he's getting the two, he's kind of placing the two fingers on first, as opposed to the pinky first, right?
Yeah.
So again, there's different ways of doing it. So you could do that, put metal horns in, and then put the pinky down, and then this guy just goes out. You want to try that with the metal horns?
So.
Yeah, just like that, and make sure the thumb's curved. That's the most important thing. Like that,
Okay.
and then get the pinky
Kind of like
and
that.
curve it. Yep. Yeah, and make sure it's on top. So it might
Slip a little bit.
yeah, it might slip a little bit. Yeah.
So just like that.
Perfect. And now get the index finger, and instead of letting it just hang out right there, just kind of set it on there. Like that.
Okay.
Nothing too crazy with that guy. These two are the most non-useful ones.
These ones.
Yeah,
Okay.
the ones that really rely. Actually, index finger kind of is too. Index, pinky, and thumb, I would think, are the most important. The two middle ones kind of just rest there.
I see.
They're not there for support. Everything else is here for support. Support up top, support up bottom, and support right here to hold on to the thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of it. There's other diagrams for you to do. They also have it putting it all together. So now what we're going to do is getting the instrument up. And I think, give me 1 second. Alright, so now the next thing we're going to do is make a sound out of it. Alright?
Okay.
So, I'm going to kind of do rhythm. So have you ever seen rhythms or know how rhythms work at all?
Just a little bit. I mean,
A little bit.
the count and stuff, right?
So I'm gonna kind of do a little demonstration. So if you look at line 2, I got four little notes, I guess you could say. For right now, they're called notes. They're the kind of like the little black balls with the line coming out of them, right? So those guys are gonna be they're called notes, and those ones specifically are called quarter notes. And then we have eighth notes, which are these guys right here.
Okay.
They're twice as fast as a quarter note. So a quarter note, for instance, would go in a tempo of maybe 76 or 75. It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. A quarter note would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Keeping that same metronome, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So now if you look at line 3, I got eighth notes now, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna jump from this line, and then I'm gonna jump straight from this line. Okay, so I'm gonna play this line all the way through. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the next one, and the next one. Pretty easy so far.
Okay.
And now we're gonna jump to line 3, and now it's gonna be 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay, so that's kind of how they look. So
Okay.
right here, it would be the same thing. Okay. Does that kind of make sense so far?
Yeah, it does.
So we have eighth notes and quarter notes. So these guys are twice as fast. One little thing that's good to know is 2 of these notes equal 1 of these notes.
Okay.
So if you notice, when I counted this, I counted 1 and 2 and 3, 4. I didn't give an and on 3, 4, right? I could have went 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but I didn't.
Yeah.
The reason why I did the ands is because they kind of help. So, kind of show what the beat is. So for instance, right here, we have 4 notes right here, right?
Yeah.
So we're in the time signature of 4/4, which means we have 4 quarter notes in the measure.
Okay.
And a measure is divided by that line right there. Okay. So here we have 4 beats in this measure. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we start over. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that's it, right?
Yeah.
So each measure has 4 beats. But here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes in it, but we have 4 beats still.
4 beats.
Yeah, so it's kind of like doing math. So now you got to kind of look at it and be like, okay, here's 1 beat, here's 2. How many beats are in here? So what you can do is 2 beats equal 1 of these, right?
Yeah.
So you can count 1 and then 2 and. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. The and is just the extra note that you play with it.
Okay.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So let's practice clapping it, and then we'll practice playing it on the D string. Yeah, you can go and set that down right there if you'd like.
And
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is let's find one that's a little bit more different. Here we go. Actually, no. Yeah, let's go back to where we're at. So number 3, right there.
Okay.
So I'll count it off. I'll do 4 beats first, and then that's where you come in. Okay. You have any questions about it?
Kind of iffy on it. Like, I'm not too sure about it yet.
Uh-huh.
But, I'll just.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and then keep going. Okay. So that's how it's gonna go. Okay. So number 3. If you want me to go a little slower, you want me to try going a little slower, maybe?
Okay, so it's like.
So I'll snap, and all you have to do is clap.
Okay.
So I'll snap the beat, and just stay with the beat. Okay. So remember, you're dividing each of those 8th notes by 2, right?
Okay.
All right. So we'll start number 3. So 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Good. Awesome. Keep going on that line. All right. And now we're gonna go to number 3 with the 8th notes now. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So now we're gonna add the 8ths now. So now we're gonna go 1 and 2 and 3, 4.
Okay.
Number 3.
So,
Okay.
Okay.
So right there. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Exactly, just like that. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Good.
Kind of.
Almost. Yeah, you're almost getting it. You're almost getting it. Yeah. Now what we're gonna do is put it on the violin,
Okay.
which will be our last part of this little lesson thing.
Awesome. Cool.
So we're gonna stand up for this one because this is how we.
I don't know if the camera's gonna catch us.
Oh,
Did you want me to fix it?
I can move it real quick. Yeah.
No, it's...
Or you got it. I can see it through the
thing?
yeah, through the reflection.
Oh, let's see.
Perfect. So what we're gonna do is with the D string now we're gonna go 1 and okay. It's gonna be a little. I know it's a lot to ask for right now, but you'll do fine. So remember everything we just talked about, right? So we have that. Perfect. Having really good posture. Nice. Got that arm in the right spot. Awesome. And how's your bow hold look?
I don't know.
Curved fingers. So the point is we don't want to have straight. Yeah, just like that. And we've got this the pinky a little more curved.
Curved?
Instead of straight out like that, just more. Yeah, just like that. Perfect.
And then
So now what we're gonna do is put it on the D string. So you remember which one's the D?
this one here.
The which one? Play it for me. So all you have to do is put it on there and then push down.
That one?
That's the one. So now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna practice going long strokes. So just go 1, 2, and then 3, 4, back and forth. Okay. And don't be scared to push down too if you want. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is move this guy in right here,
Okay.
and now we want to keep the bow in between the bridge and the fingerboard. Once it starts veering off, you start getting different tonalities, and that's what
Okay.
we don't want. Perfect. Are you pushing down a lot?
Yeah, not too much.
Not too much? Push down a little more. Let's see that. Perfect.
That's it. Oh, it keeps moving.
Yeah, part of it is keeping it nice and straight, right? You got it. So now what we're gonna do is going 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Did we can try that? Yeah. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2.
Oh, I need to go
you got it.
Long strokes.
Yeah. So I'll count you in, okay? So I'll go 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and yeah, you got it. So I would go 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Good. You got another one? 3 and 4 and yeah. Awesome. Great. And now we want the left hand, we don't want to just set it anywhere. So we're going to pretend like we know how to play violin right now, and you're just going to keep your left hand right there, yeah. Okay. And keep the fingers hovering over the board, as if you're about to play another note, right? But we don't want them touching the strings yet. Okay. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to have you go to the G string now. Remember which one's the G string? So good dogs always eat. Yeah. It's the big one, right?
Yeah, big one.
Yeah. So when we play that, naturally our arm's gonna be up more to get more grip on it. Yeah, just like that. And now go ahead and play it. Yeah, don't be scared to dig into that one either. Perfect. Awesome. You're getting the right rhythms and everything. One more time. Sounds great. That sounds actually really good. Just from never having to do it, and you just kind of did it right now, that was actually pretty good.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you, just having most students, they probably don't get that far yet. But yeah, that's pretty much it right now.
Oh, okay.
So I think we keep that up, and I think next week or our next lesson will be A1.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Oh, cool.
So I'll take that, and I will see you next week.
Next week.
Peace. Deuces.